Hey guys, it's your boy FX. Yesterday I spoke about the summoner and why I love it, and a lot of people took note of my user interface, bringing up how distinct it looked and how clean it represented information. Saying that sounds so weird to myself, but thank you. But my point of saying that is there was interest in learning more about why I did it, how I did it, and so that's what this video is all about. Of course, this goes across all of the jobs like my Scholar user interface, White Mage, Ast, Bard, and so on. Every job these principles can really be applied to. I actually don't use any third-party add-ons, and for Endwalker, a huge priority of mine coming from Shadowbringers was getting my user interface as clean and informative as possible, because I did make it the goal to go into ultimate level content, and I found it just important for me to level myself up. I had always noticed that I had a problem with keeping track of information with as little eye movement as possible. Often my eyes would have to dart way down below my character or far to one side or the other side to get information that otherwise I would like to have instant access to, ideally in the periphery of my vision, as we're about to talk about in a second. One such example would be in the screenshot that I'm showing on the screen right now. I'd ask, where's the silence? And by this point I'm overly familiar with the head grace icon, so I know that it would be here or over here in the screenshot. Or previously I might have put it on a bar slightly below my character's screen and like made it really big, make the bar big, and that was just the start of me diving into the user interface really. But beyond the nitty-gritty, the point is I didn't have immediate information consistently present without major eye movements, and that means like information that I wanted, that I needed in key pivotal moments I couldn't tell you. And especially going on Scholar, especially going on Sage, actually pretty much any healer, it's very important, or tank, it's very important to be able to be much more flexible. Ask any healer or tank during prog, sometimes that like idealized happy path of you using your cooldowns here and there doesn't really go to pan. Of course you want it to, but it doesn't. And then it's really nice to have immediately your options available. Now I'm going to go step by step over all the design decisions that I made and explain why I chose what I did. I think more than me just brute force showing you this is exactly my UI layout, I think that it's important to like empower people and give them the knowledge of the context of why I did what I did, because you might want everything completely different. So first up is that the party frames are to the left of my screen. They always have been, and so I want to base the component that I made off of this fact. Especially since I'm taking healers through raid content, I can't afford to simply let my eyes float to the right of my screen just to get basic information. This really applies to all jobs in 14, but take for the summoner themselves, which is what I'm focusing on this video for the examples for, it lets them figure out how to cast Rekindle on quickly. Main tanks and off tank swaps sometimes for extended periods of time, and so you can't just rely on, oh, I'm gonna macro party member number 2. It's not quite that simple. This also gives you information to let you know that your HP is low. Personally, I'm referencing my party frame HP bar more than like the HP bar at the bottom of my screen. Arguably, I could and maybe even should remove it after this video. Thus, you can know, oh, okay, I need to dip into my 2 barrier charges. Obviously, revive is another core example. If a party member's downed, you need to be able to immediately register that, and that's not always obvious in a raid setting when your screen isn't like specifically focused on someone who might be off in a far corner. Really mechanic dependent, but oftentimes I'm finding myself just seeing, oh, someone's like gray, like obviously dead in the party frame. Raiding, even when it's on farm, and especially if you're in Party Finder, it may you may find yourself needing to pop an emergency virus cast to numb the incoming damage and save squishy DPS from potentially inattentive healers. Or maybe a mechanic was just not resolved properly. There's many examples where you'd want this information, is my point. Obviously that principle applies to all jobs, like especially Red Mage, revives on tanks, actually to tanks. It's very much a widespread concept in 14. So in sum, less eye movements that I need to do, the better, and this minimizes it across the majority of jobs. Now for step 2, I keep the gauges as the central focus because that is such critical information that the thought of going without them is actually kind of wild. And I'm going to continue to focus on the summoner example from here, but obviously for Scholar, Sage, and literally every other job, this is very critical information. So for the summoner, I have many pieces of information buried in the gauges, such as Bahamut is the next big 60-second cycle summon, or is it going to be Phoenix? Those are going to have very different impacts on how I'm going to go through the engagement or what kind of tools I have. Such as in a progression situation where the healers haven't really gone used to it, you could be like, oh, okay, don't worry about this next incoming AoE so much because I'm going to have Phoenix up, and so that's going to bathe the field in a ton of heals. Then from there I can see how many charges of Ifrit, Titan, and Garuda abilities I have left. This is actually one of the biggest and best parts of the Summoner gauge actually. This is extremely important because I don't want to have to lower my eyes to check elsewhere. Oh, how many charges of this or that do I have? It's all packaged into this component, and obviously Bahamut or Phoenix durations up here too, which is always great. The Aether Flow gauge in this example is much simpler but no less important. Every 60 seconds I restock Aether Flow, and I need to ensure that I get both casts of the high damage Fester ability off under raid buffs, and this is what I really use to warn me, hey, you still have a Fester cast or potentially 2 to get off, and so just a reminder that I better get on that. Step 3 is completely related to keeping track of your most important big value cooldowns that you really cannot let drift, and we're going to start off basic in that I want to keep track of Bahamut or Phoenix summons all the time on Summoner. Obviously every single job is going to have their instance of their quote-unquote Bahamut or their Phoenix that they can't let drift. Essentially for this type of ability they are important to use essentially immediately when they're off of cooldown. Even if you're doing something like on Summoner a spell speed based build at around a 2.2 second GCD, really just letting these drift is so insanely bad that what I've done here is that I've made a big Bahamut icon to the right and to the left of the component. I enlarged the right one intentionally to ensure that I can have better information, visual clarity rather, on how long it is until it's back up, since minor timing is like 5 seconds until it's up are more clear, at least for my personal vision. That inner circle is really useful information alongside the enlarged timer. That really helps me a lot. Now why I have this same icon, this exact same icon repeated to the left is, to be quite frank, my eyes go further left very often, especially because I am a healer main. I have always been a healer main, and so the party frames are really what my eyes are attracted to. So what might seem like obvious redundant information is me fine-tuning the component to my personal eyesight. It's just that bad to drift, and that's just how my eyes work, for better or worse. But what I'm trying to get at with saying that is, if your eyes are going to a particular location and it's easier, why not put it in a different location? You really need to customize that. To give more examples, here is the Sage, where I have enlarged the Phlegma ability since it has 2 charges, and it is just, in my personal viewpoint, such a powerful ability, not only for damage, so you want to obviously land it in 2-minute raid buff windows, but also for mobility, so it's super big for me. But on other jobs like the Scholar, you can see, interestingly enough, that I don't really have anything super incredibly wildly large, since honestly pretty much everything is vital. The Sacred Soil's giga powerful. There's not anything that I really want that big. I could in theory do Chain Stratagem, but for my eyes I'd rather have Aether Flow, that small icon there. And that works for me because muscle memory, I know every 60 seconds. I don't need it to be like an enlarged icon. I get into a really good rhythm and flow with it. Scholar for almost 10 years, I'd better know to press Aether Flow on cooldown. Now step 4 is all other cooldowns, and the easiest and simplest way to put it is to drag and drop every single ability that you need to use in combat here. Like as you can see on my Scholar, for me it's pretty much all of this. In the heat of battle, I really don't want to mess around, and I need to know and be able to communicate pretty much immediately if I do or do not have an ability like Indom up, and during prog, communicating that to my co-healer without hesitation is very important and will help prog. But to like turn the table and go back to Summoner, I obviously keep track of my big damage cooldowns like my raid buff and my energy drain there, but from there I'm also valuing raid utility skills like Virus to help mitigate damage, Swift Cast for revives, or for me to continue mobility rather than say hard cast Garuda's AoE. Obviously when you're PFing, obviously during prog, stuff hits the fan all the time, so that's important. I'm also keeping track of my own barriers, and obviously sprint, since it's important, since sprint is literally the core mobility ability, and so that's going to be there too. Now for the order of them, it's really hard to say what methodology I applied here, since I truly messed with it until something clicked, but things gravitated towards the following heuristics. DPS cooldowns kind of in the bottom right corner, roll actions to the bottom left corner, desperation to survive raid mechanics kind of went to the top right hand corner. I don't even know why, but that's what it did. And yes, let's just not ask why energy drain in particular is there. My current thought pattern on why my eyes really gravitated to that is maybe because the big red and orange icon is really easy to track, but that's there for me and it really works for me. And again, this is all fine-tuned to you and whatever your stylistic preferences. Now really for the final step, I'm just going to show my HUD layout out right here for all to see. This is not the prettiest way or the most epic conservative value of the hotbar usage. I literally have used every single hotbar at my disposal. Maybe I could fine-tune and optimize it here and there, but this is me bearing all of my characters yeah, for the world to see. This is really just something that came together through countless hours in content, running Boja, as everyone saw all over my channel in December, leveling all my jobs to 90 in like the first 2 weeks of the expansion, and that was wild. Lots of trial and error running through the story, and just I fiddled the entire time with that, with the bar configuration, and managed to really land on these sizes for the bars and icons, and I layered them all like so. As I said, like, I probably could optimize this further, but this is what I'm actually using in game right now. But if this isn't clear how I did it, or people are like, oh, well, how could I emulate it? If you really want me to deep dive into my user interface and how I did this, because I don't know if something that is something people would value or not want to know, so let me know if you want that, please. And so that about really wraps it all up for my component-based user interface, keeping the information as clear as possible and hopefully helping enhance your gameplay. So I hope that this helps you all and that you all have a fantastic day. And as always, let me know what you think in the comments or any questions, and I'll try and help where I can. And as always, if this video helped you, please consider smashing that like button with a thick cat daddy and cat daddying that subscribe button. I'm dumb, but take care everyone, have a great day.